I'm going to give you a bit of a walkthrough on how to make one of these insects. Right? So, to begin with, we're going to need a fork. The one I'm using is silver plated nickel, but you can use stainless steel, you can use sterling silver, but the one that I'm using is silver plated nickel. You want to flatten the top off, just use a mallet, leave the bottom, you want to keep that curve, you'll see why at the end. So now you want to secure your fork so you've not got much movement, if any. Get your bender, you can get these off my website, or you can use a straw if you like, whatever's. So then you want to pull it out like this, because these are going to be the antennas, and these are the legs here. So you want to pull this out so you can pull through the body, because the body is going to be coming all the way around, and I'll show you that in a second. But you want to make enough room so you can do that. You want to start your bend. You can do this with a pair of round nose pliers if you're strong enough, but if you're not, you can do this with your shank bender. Use the smallest size. I don't know what size this is, maybe a 6 or an 8. And what you want to do is you're trying to bring the handle of the fork all the way around, so it's essentially flat to the fork head. So just like this, so you're lining it up, make that more of a curve. You don't want any flat spots. Turn it over so you're not getting any. And now you should have something like this. And this piece needs to now come around flat here. And the way that I do this is I just bend it with my hands, but I know some people can struggle with that. So if you do, use a vise, again, secure one end. You can even use a rubber mallet if you get enough sort of bend on it. I'll show you. If you sort of bend it like that, you should, if you put this end down, be able to tap this side with a mallet to be able to get it round if you struggle to be able to pull this piece down. And then I just stick my thumb here, you see? And then you should have it about there. And then just give it a little squeeze. You just tighten up your design a little bit. So for me, on this, I want this to have a bit of a curve. So I'm going to tap that with a mallet, so this part comes in, curves around, and then I'll tap the top part here to tighten up the curve there to bring the body down tight. So let's get that done, shall we? It can be a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it in the end, I think. Like that. So you see you've got a fatter end that goes into like the body shape as such, and then turn it around. Right, okay, so now you should, is that pretty even? You want to make sure that this part stays dead center, and you can use your tines to do that. So what I mean by that is, if you have a look, you're trying to keep it symmetrical on both sides. So obviously this part's fine, but you can use the tines to see if you're sat in the middle, so you can use the margins. Do you know what I mean? So if you have a look, mine's sat a little bit to the right. You see the margin on this side's a little bit smaller on the margin on that side. So all you would do is just give it a little love tap. There you go. Gone a little bit too far, but I always do. And then, see that? Now you've got even margins. It seems OTT, but you're watching my tutorial, so deal with it. So you've got something like this. Now get your straw, your shoe bender, whatever you're using, and you want to try and curve this, because I've seen lots of designs like this where there's lots of flat spots. And if you have a look at any of the insects that you're trying to recreate, and although this isn't exact match, it's sort of just like a generic insect as such, all of them have really smooth curves, and all of their shapes flow with another. So there's no dead flat spots and there's no sharp curves and things like this. So that's one thing you really want to try and avoid, because getting the likeness of something that you're trying to recreate can really make a piece. So here you want to get one continuous smooth, see if I can get that shown, smooth bend, right? Like that. There's a little bit of a flat spot, oh sorry, there's a little bit of a flat spot here, but this is going to be curled, so we're going to get that with the pliers. You don't need to worry too much about this part. It's more from the body outwards. You want to get that curve really nice and flowing, and then just do the same on the opposite side. Again, trying to keep it as symmetrical as you can, so keep the angle and the curve the same. There's no rush doing this, so at any point you can stop, look at what you're doing, and just make sure that everything lines up. You're not, you know, there's no time limit to this, so really take your time to get things right. Especially if you're a crafter and you're selling and you're selling these items, because there's so many people on the market at the minute that do sell these types of items, that it's really hard to be competitive. So instead of doing it by price and beating people, you know, by undercutting their prices, the only real way of doing it is to produce better products, and that's just kind of where we're at. Okay, so now you can see this side needs to come across a little bit, so let's do that. Again, you're always stopping and you're always checking to make sure that things line up. And if they don't, just correct them. Because it's easier to correct things now than it is later. Plus, you don't want to be leaving lots of tooling marks, which is exactly what will happen if you try to rectify a problem later in time. So that looks pretty good. This one needs to come down a little bit. Like, yeah, but again, you want to try and keep it as symmetrical as you can. So you want to start a little bit lower, about there. So if you have a look at your curves, oh no, that one's a little bit out now, that fucking bastard. So then you should have something like this, and you want to make sure the shoulders are pretty in level. I mean, this one's slightly higher than this size, but we're talking absolute fractions. Smaller bender, and just curve this around here. Same on the opposite side. Okie dokes. And then with a set of round nose pliers, just curl off just put a curl on the hands, just so it's got something to latch on with, and then obviously copy it on the opposite side, trying to keep it as even as possible and as symmetrical as possible. Okay, so you should have something like this, and these are going to be the little hooks that hold on to the side of the plant pot, or you know, wherever you sort of want to put it. Ooh, it's not in shot. Wherever you want to put it. You could leave it like this. I mean, I've seen a few people where they have these go all the way down and then flick off, which I think looks quite nice. Do you know what? Let's do that. Let's try that for this time. because we've already got one like. So what you want to do here, you want to try and bring these down to the body and then back up. So essentially you're giving it that essence of running through the wind or something, but you're giving it that real sleek look. So get your round nose pliers and just close this up a little bit like that, but again, no flat spots, keeping the curve. Do the same on this side. Again, take your time, there's no rush, no one's timing you, it's not a competition. Okay, so this one can go over a little bit more. So now, you see that? And then here, this is where it's going to get a little bit awkward. But that's alright, we can do that. We can deal with awkward. You just want to get on the very tips, okay? You're just giving it a little flick up like that, okay? Same with this side. Just give it a little flick. Ooh. Like that. And then with your pliers, just finish these curves. And I mean, again, you can leave it like this, you can just pull this part down and that would look quite nice. I like putting curls on things, so I'm gonna put a curl on here. But you can finish it how you like. So if you did wanna do the curls like I do, just get your pliers and go down as far as it will go down and use that part to continue your curve. The biggest mistake I see people use or see is people try and do the complete curve with the tip, and you're just going to damage your pliers. So start off with the base, that's why they're wider, and then you can create the main shape of your curve. And again, take your time, there's no rush, there's no need to do this super fast, just do it right. Take your time, get the curves, and get a little bit more on that one to about there. And then here you see you've pretty much got like a full circle. You're just tucking that tail in. That's all you're doing. And you just do it like that. Again, take your time, there's no rush. Just like that. So now you've got one, just do that on the other side. So then you have something like this, and now you just want to take these parts and get them bent down to the body. But when you do that, you want to make sure that they come in at an angle, so don't do it flat so they're sort of flared off. You want them to come tucked just behind the shoulder. So I'll show you. Bring it down. Again, no rush. Make sure the placement's right. Get that curve nice and smooth, just like so. And then do the same on this side. Again, making sure that everything's nice and lined up. Again, so you can see here that I need to adjust this one, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Just give it a little twist to where it needs to be, and that's done. I mean, you can run some sandpaper over it if you like, make it a little bit cleaner. And there you go, one fork insect. And again, you can change the variation pretty simply by just changing the position of the antennas. So, you know, pretty much the exact same design, two different looks. And they should just sit wherever you want to put them.